Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Big J Gaming, where today we're going to be looking at the top 5 best unpopulated loot locations in the Walking Dead Online. Now for this, I'm going to be considering locations that don't typically have many people within them in my personal gameplay, and very often I don't run into many other groups, players, and when I go there I oftentimes find something useful, decent loot, guns, food, armor, all that stuff. And these locations are probably best for those who maybe don't want to fight and want to play more cautiously. So let's get right into it. Coming in at the number 5 spot, we got the Green Farm, or more well known in the show as just the farm. The farm, which is in the agricultural region of the map, I think is a pretty decent loot location given its unpopularity and the stuff you can find here. See, this location is not explicit on the map. It's not labeled like a lot of other places, like the sanctuary and the prison. But you can still find firearms here, as I have. I just found 2 USPs in this shed over here. The farm itself has a lot of food, water, melee weapons, and I find that there's not many people here, but there are usually a decent amount of firearms to find. So for anyone who's looking for kind of a get started on the server they're in, this would be a good place to start. As you can see, I'm finding melee weapons everywhere, but for whatever reason, zombies or walkers made their way in, and I also found some ammunition for my guns. This location has a lot to loot. The barn, the shed, the cattle barn, the house, and I think that's it. So there's a lot of places to look when you're scavenging, and you're likely to find something decent. Maybe you won't find an ACR or something like that, but you will find some very basic weapons to kind of get yourself going, so you can get kind of those early game kills and move up in the survivor hierarchy. But unfortunately, this place does have some fallbacks. I don't see it as giving oftentimes the very best loot, and even despite the fact that it's not on the map explicitly labeled, it is sometimes traversed by people. Although not very frequently, it is still a risk when you come here, a decent one at that, but still is not as good as the number 4 spot. Coming in at the number 4 spot on the top 4 best hidden locations, we have the supermarket, or the convenience store rather, that you find here near Woodbury, and also the one in Lakeview. I want to also include in this the kind of hotel rooms that are in the agricultural region as part of this. All those locations bundled together, I think, are fitting for the number 4 spot. See, with this location, almost nobody travels to here. And even in Lakeview, you don't see many people in this specific location. I oftentimes find arms, ammunition mainly, and food, water, especially in the kind of the hotel looking location, the agricultural region. That place has a lot of guns. And here is where you can find all sorts of other starter loot. In my experience, it has been very helpful for me when I was looking for ammunition, food, water, whatever it is I needed. I could always rely upon these locations here. They're also good for looting even in the end game. It's very good supplementally because you can find ammunition for some of your guns. You can also find food, water, melee weapons, even if you want a better melee weapon than, say, a screwdriver or a hunting knife if you want a baseball bat. That location and all those others, I want to bundle them together as kind of a miscellaneous thing. but I think those locations are more hidden and much more less accessible to other players, but also are a good starter location for those who had just joined, who are just fresh. That is why that is in the number 4 spot. Coming in at the number 3 spot, we have the National Guard Outpost. Now this place, I really like this place. Ever since it was added in the game, I was pretty happy to see, because I knew what this place was going to be pretty quickly. It was obvious. And it was going to be a place for military loot. However, more specifically it wasn't very clear. Luckily for me, I was able to find it pretty early on and take advantage of the spoils. Now this location can spawn various arrays of loot. Mainly machine guns, I found an AK here, ACR, things like that, and military zombies for armor. So all sorts of handguns and ammunition, shotguns, weapons near these trucks. It's excellent, excellent, excellent for loot. You can find all sorts of things. Now if you spawn near this location, there's a good chance you'll find what you're looking for. At the very least, a weapon, maybe some armor, and maybe more. There's so many possibilities. I think this location is great. Hardly anybody comes up here. I've only ever seen a player here once. It's more than what I can say for the other locations, which I've seen players there more often, but less so than some other major locations. Now, on this list, this is one of the very few locations that I have that spawn military grade weapons, like this AK which I had found here, and the other AK that I found here, which came with a plentiful amount of ammunition. And so, that is why I am putting this National Guard outpost at the number 3 spot. Coming in at the number 2 spot is the pit stop, Gill's Pit Stop. Now this place, I like this place a lot. It's a good place. It's got a lot of loot, a lot of things to look for, and I'm very rarely ever disappointed, if not at all. This place has a lot of guns to find, and as you can see, that's 2 guns outside, a Python and a double barrel. Here you've got ammunition, and look at that, 2 more guns, another gun, more guns. There's just so many firearms here. Food, melee weapons. It's perfect. Almost perfect, actually. It's a great place. You can find just about everything you need here. There's melee weapons, as you can see, food, another gun. A lot of places to look. You can look around the back of the store. This location, I've never seen anyone here, ever. This location's great, though. There's all kinds of good supplies for you to get your hands on. And it's a relatively new location, so that's probably, in my opinion, why it's not being found. But it is visible on the map. It is south of King County, and if you find a map, if you have a picture of an updated map, that is, you can find it pretty easily. But I've never seen anyone here. I've been here on many occasions, and I found it to be quite useful. And I find a lot of Springfields, shotguns, pistols. It's great. So, but the biggest drawback is that you can't find military loot. I have not found military zombies here yet, nor have I found any machine guns. So, unfortunately, while it is really, really good for some of the more basic stuff, kind of the early starting game things, and it's completely hidden because people just don't come here, it is not number 1. So, let's get to number 1, the one we've all been waiting for. Coming at the number 1 spot, we have the Military Forward Operating Base. This place has excellent loot, in my opinion. Earlier, I found this M16 here, and plenty of armor spawns here. Armor and ammunition, all sorts of things. In these trailers, you can find clothes, cosmetics, things like that, and then the tents, food, water, some weapons. That's where I found this M16 in that tent. There's a frying pan there. In here you can also find some small arms and other supplies, some armor, ammunition, all sorts of things. Now this was a tough fight because I had to consider which one would give you the better loot. And here, this place can spawn military grade weaponry, unlike the pit stop, which could spawn much lower grade weapons as well as some cosmetics, but it couldn't spawn armor, things like that, and machine guns. So I had to give this forward operating base the #1 spot. In addition, this place is not even labeled on the map like the pit stop is. The pit stop is labeled on the map. It's a lot more not easier to find and track down than this place, but it is in a pretty, I wouldn't say remote location. I mean, King County is right over there. Here's the hospital and the smaller military post. So it's not super hidden, but it's more hidden than all the other places on this list. In fact, I haven't found anyone here before. So for that reason, I'm going to have to consider this as the #1 least popular loot location in this game. If you agree with me, disagree, or you want to leave a comment, please do so below. I would appreciate any suggestions or whatever dialogue. And I hope you enjoyed watching this video. I hope you consider subscribing. And until next time, have a good day.